Anti-Faction+City+Spiritual Revival+Seizing female Lead+Non eunuch, lying trough. Lying trough. Lying trough. 3 lying slots represent surprise, fear, and fear, respectively. This is the voice from Bai Xuan's heart. The corner of the underground parking lot. Bai Xuan was curled up in the corner with a strange head-down position. Covered in bloodstains, disheveled, with bruises on his face, blood spat out from the corners of his mouth, and his nose bridge flattened, as if telling how hard the other person had hit him just now. Not far away, a handsome man dressed in casual clothes is fighting back against the people who are besieging him. Chapter 1. Familiar World. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Lying trough. Sleeping trough. Lying trough. 3 lying slots represent surprise, fear, and fear, respectively. This is the voice from Bai Xuan's heart. The corner of the underground parking lot. Bai Xuan was curled up in the corner with a strange head-down position. Covered in bloodstains, disheveled, with bruises on his face, blood spat out from the corners of his mouth, and his nose bridge flattened, as if telling how hard the other person had hit him just now. Not far away, a handsome man dressed in casual clothes is fighting back against the people who are besieging him. The man twisted one person's neck with a punch, causing the other person to die directly, slapped one person's chest with a palm, causing the other person to vomit blood incessantly, and kicked and shattered one person's egg, causing the other person to feel pain and faint. In short, when a man strikes a small karami, the people surrounding him are either dead or injured, and they all fall to the ground without getting up. The man saw no one standing up around him anymore, his mouth tilted, he sneered silently, turned around gracefully, got in the car, and left. As the man left, Bai Xuan and the others stood up trembling from the ground without saying a word. Who is that person? This question kept hovering in Bai Xuan's mind, and ultimately couldn't find any memory of that person. He only knows one thing. He has traveled through time. Travel into an unknown world. Being beaten to half-death by an unknown person. However, he did not acquire any memory of the original owner. I don't know the cause and effect at all, why did I get beaten up? In no time, an ambulance arrived and the living were taken to the hospital, while the dead were taken to the morgue. Only Bai Xuan had a few broken ribs, several comminuted fractures, and a relatively mild concussion. Among these people, his injury is the mildest. At least not disabled, there is no need to be hospitalized. Walking out of the hospital and looking at the pedestrians coming and going on the street, Bai Xuan felt a bit confused. Looking at the hundreds of yuan in his hand, it was given to him by a stranger, who said it was his rightful reward. It's more like hard-earned money exchanged for life than compensation. Sigh. At least still alive. Although Bai Xuan is comforting himself, he is indeed much luckier compared to others. I bought another set of cheap street vendors and went to the restaurant to have some food. He didn't have much money left on him. Walking on the street, looking around, looking for familiar things. But it seems that in the end, it ended regretfully. There are many high-rise buildings in the city. There are many cars on the road and people on the street are in a hurry. It seems that they are exactly the same as those in previous lives. Especially on a huge billboard, there is a simple slogan written on it. Donghai Lin Group is recruiting social elites to create a better future together. Donghai Lin Group. Bai Xuan stopped in front of the billboard, staring at every word in confusion. Why have I seen this sentence somewhere before? Bai Xuan frowned and pondered diligently. At this moment, a beautiful woman wearing a black professional suit with black silk wrapped around her jade legs, with a pure appearance and a cold face, cursed at a man with a lewd face in the street. Stay away from me in the future, don't let me see you again. Xiaowan, you must believe me, it's not what you think. Believe you, how many times have you said this sentence, how many times have I believed you, how many women are there by your side, and how many are you? Xiaowan, I am sincere to you. Truly, you said the same to other women, right? Xiaowan, I. Zhao Rui, I'm making it clear to you now that we're done, don't bother me anymore. After speaking, Nie Xiaowan turned around and left, but Zhao Rui held on to Nie Xiaowan and didn't let go. Xiaowan, give me one more chance, it's just one last time. Let go, if you don't let go of me again, I'll call the police. Xiaowan, I won't let go this time. You person, let go. Nie Xiaowan struggled desperately, but Zhao Rui remained steadfast. The people around him looked at the couple and talked, but no one was willing to help. Bai Xuan looked at this scene with confusion, but his heart was murmuring. This scene, this dialogue, how so familiar. Should I take action to save the beauty with a hero? Just as Bai Xuan was getting entangled, a loud shout came from outside the crowd. Can you let go of her for me? A handsome and charming man dressed in casual clothes walked in from outside the crowd. Zhao Rui and Nie Xiaowan in the field were stunned, and the surrounding onlookers were also stunned, all looking at the man who suddenly walked in. Bai Xuan was shocked and lost his composure. He knew that person. Just now in the underground parking lot, it was this man who beat them up alone. Zhao Rui looked at the other person and screamed in fear, Lin Tianhao, you must have been too lenient. Lin Tianhao walked up to Nie Xiaowan, pulled Zhao Rui's hand apart, and kicked him, then hugged Nie Xiaowan. Zhao Rui, Nie Xiaowan is my woman. If you dare to pester him again, I will make it impossible for you to stay in the East China Sea. Including your Zhao family. After speaking, Lin Tianhao hugged the blushing Nie Xiaowan and left. The two of them got into a luxury car and left gracefully. Zhao Rui's face was full of resentment, staring at the car that Lin Tianhao had left without saying a word for a long time. The people around him also dispersed with interest, but Bai Xuan remained in place. He remembered. The novel he once saw had such a plot and dialogue, as well as the characters that happened on the set. No wonder it feels so familiar. Donghai Lin Group. Zhao Rui, Nie Xiaowan, Lin Tianhao. These three people are the main characters in the early stages of that novel. Although Nie Xiaowan is not the main lead, Lin Tianhao is a real male lead. Zhao Rui is indeed a villain, but after this incident, he will be killed by Lin Tianhao. Although Bai Xuan was shocked in his heart, he murmured to himself and stared at Zhao Rui sitting on the ground in silence, while his mind was pondering what to do next. In theory, everyone hopes to have smooth sailing, and climb to the sky with one step. As the saying goes, leaning against a big tree is good for shade. Lin Tianhao is known as the invincible god of war in his novels. Having such a person to protect, afraid of a hammer. In an instant, Bai Xuan had an idea. Don't take advantage of the cheap. Such thick thighs are not suitable for holding. Bai Xuan glanced at Zhao Rui sitting on the ground, sneered, and turned around to leave. Villain, that's the stepping stone for the protagonist. At that time, I don't even know how to die. It's still comfortable to follow the protagonist, enjoy delicious food and spicy food, and be disease-free and disaster-free. After Bai Xuan made up his mind, he immediately took a taxi and headed to the Lin family's Lin family group. He was very clear that the Lin group would launch a commercial war against the Zhao group in the future. After this business war, the Lin family will firmly occupy the position of the richest man in the East China Sea, thus laying a rich foundation for Lin Tianhao. Anyone with a normal brain knows how to make a choice. As the saying goes, those who are aware of current affairs are heroes. Only fools give up the opportunity to gain glory, wealth, and status. Moreover, Bai Xuan is familiar with all the plot of the novel story. It can be said that as long as he doesn't die, he can rest carefree and enjoy himself in this world. Chapter 2. Be sure to hug your thighs. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The Lin group building is down. Bai Xuan was stopped by several security guards at the entrance. Where did the poor ghosts come from? They dare to act recklessly in our Lin group. Those who are sensible, hurry up and get out of here. Don't let me hit you. Looking at the arrogant security captain, Bai Xuan gritted his teeth and turned pale with anger. He never expected that only the protagonist in the novel would experience the same scenes, and he also encountered them. Mad. Why does this sound so infuriating? When I used to read novels, I saw the protagonist being trampled on and slapped on the spot, which was very satisfying. But I am just a passerby with no background or influence. Although it has a slight connection with the protagonist. But I am the one who was beaten up. I came over to surrender. I still have to suffer this crime. A really meow's nest fire. Bai Xuan was very angry, but it was of no use. He doesn't have a protagonist aura. Without the ability to slap on the spot. I can only swallow my anger and leave. At the moment when Bai Xuan walked down the stairs, a luxury car rushed over from a distance. In an instant, a possibility suddenly came to Bai Xuan's mind. Gee. The luxury car stopped in front of Bai Xuan, just 1 or 2 centimeters away. Bai Xuan lay down, rolled under the wheel, covered his stomach, and let out a mournful cry. Ouch. It hurts so much. It hurts me so much. Upon hearing the news, the security guards rushed over and surrounded Bai Xuan in groups. Passengers stopped and watched, unmoved by the security guard's drive, whispering and pointing. The driver quickly got off the car and came to the front of the car to watch Bai Xuan fall to the ground in pain and sorrow. He furrowed his brows and said to the security captain, "Drag away. Let's get started. Don't leave any leverage." Upon hearing these words, Bai Xuan's face turned pale. Lying trough. So ruthless. Are there still people around? We need to kill people and silence them. Why am I so unlucky? The security captain gestured to several security guards, who nodded knowingly and dragged Bai Xuan's leg out. Bai Xuan didn't dare to let them drag away like this. He clung tightly to the bottom of the car and engaged in a power game with the security guard. Killed. They're going to kill and silence. Is there any royal law or law in this world? Doesn't anyone care about me? Bai Xuan was eventually pulled out of the car by the security guard, but his words had already spread, and the people around him were even more talkative. What about the Lin group bullying the people? The Lin group disregards human life. The Lin group is at a loss for justice. Wait. Some even took out their phones and slapped the group wildly. Therefore, as more and more people gather around, the voices of discussion also become louder. Even if the security guard pulls Bai Xuan away, it's already impossible. The driver and security captain's faces became very gloomy, and they didn't expect that Bai Xuan would still be so shameless after hitting the porcelain. This left them unsure of what to do for a moment. Is this how Lin Group treats job applicants? I came to your group to apply for a job, but your security guard not only refused to let me in, but also insulted me as a poor person. Your group's driver has hit someone and is still trying to kill them. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Lin Group. I feel ashamed to say anything about creating a better future together. Come on, kill me. Even if I die, I will die at the doorstep of the Lin Group, making you restless every day. Bai Xuan smashed his jar and looked like he was going to die generously. He was also tired of this cowardly anger. If he had died early, he would have been reborn. What if he had crossed over again? Surrounding people are discussing and criticizing the Lin Group, with a growing trend of negative comments. Brother, I support you. The Lin Group is used to being domineering, and it's normal for them to kill people and silence them. Although we can't compete with the Lin Group, we will remember you. You are the first man who dares to confront the Lin Group. Little brother, although the master is old, he won't live long. Don't worry, wait for the master after you go down. The master will come down to accompany you. Big brother, if there is a next life, I will definitely marry you. You are so amazing, I like you. Little brother, is there anyone else in your family? After you die, my sister will take care of you. Every word you say to the people around me is all for bidding farewell to Bai Xuan, but not a single one is for presiding over justice for Bai Xuan, let alone pleading for Bai Xuan. Bai Xuan was stunned. He never expected that the final outcome would be like this. Isn't there even a pleading person? The driver and the captain of the security team turned pale, their eyes filled with murderous intent as they looked at Bai Xuan. They wished they could immediately chop Bai Xuan into meat paste and feed it to the dog. The reason why they dare not move is because at the entrance of the Lin group, there is a man wearing a white suit, holding a rose in his hand, who looks elegant but is actually beautiful and charming. The man squinted his eyes and leaned against the door frame, looking at the crowd below the steps with a theatrical appearance. Especially Bai Xuan, who was caught by the security guards. Interesting. This guy actually has the courage to bump into the CEO's car at the entrance of the Lin group. Listen carefully. I'm going to make a deal with this kid. It's broken, I can't spare you. The man chuckled lightly and turned to walk towards the interior of the Lin group. After the man disappeared, the driver and the security captain breathed a sigh of relief. The two exchanged glances, both seeing a hint of helplessness in each other's eyes. Subsequently, the driver walked towards the back door of the luxury car and respectfully said, "President, there has been a slight change in the situation." The rear door of the luxury car fell down the window, revealing a stunning face, but the coldness on the face was like an iceberg for thousands of years, making it difficult to see a woman's emotions. Say. The cold tone is like falling into an ice cave, with only one word, but it makes the driver sweat profusely. The vice president is interested in this kid. The driver quickly defended himself in order to absolve himself of his wrongdoing. The woman's beautiful eyes looked through the front windshield at Bai Xuan, who was caught by the security guard at the front of the car. Liu Ye's curved eyebrows furrowed slightly, and her eyes showed a hint of confusion. This kid looks ordinary. How could that person be interested? After much thought, the woman left a sentence and closed the car window again. Notify Xiaowan to join the company, and as for what to do, let's see the arrangements. Yes. The driver breathed a sigh of relief and quickly called Nie Xiaowan. After explaining the situation clearly, he drove away. The security captain led his men to maintain order, and Bai Xuan stayed in an inexplicable state. The passers-by around saw this and no longer longed for it. They left each other, as if what had just happened had not happened. Bai Xuan sat dejectedly on the steps, watching the security guards guarding him, especially the security captain who had taken good care of him, as if nothing had happened between them just now. What's going on? Did my plan succeed? Shouldn't it be? Just as Bai Xuan was feeling strange about what had just happened, a luxury car stopped not far from Bai Xuan and the security guards, and Lin Tianhao and Nie Xiaowan got off the car. Especially seeing that the black thread on Nie Xiaowan's legs had disappeared, coupled with her slightly red cheeks and slightly disheveled hair, everyone understood what had happened between them. After giving Nie Xiaowan a seductive glance, Lin Tianhao drove away directly. At that moment, a feeling called jealousy rose in Bai Xuan's heart. Mad. I was almost silenced by someone in order to join you. You're actually following a beautiful woman outside and having fun. Very meowing. I am not convinced. Why can you do whatever you want? I must suffer from cowardice here. Chapter 3. Gao Ling Yu Jie is a love brain. You are listening at novelfull.audio. What's your name? Nie Xiaowan tidied up her clothes, combed her hair, and under the guidance of the security captain, walked up to Bai Xuan. Bai Xuan. Bai Xuan simply reported his family background. Looking at the woman in front of her with outstanding figure, especially her bulging chest, slender waist, slender jade legs, coupled with tender white skin like snow, and a delicate and cold face that carries a hint of redness, she is a perfect beauty in the form of an imperial sister. However, Bai Xuan looked at Nie Xiaowan's smooth and delicate jade legs. Just now, there was a pair of black silk, but now it has disappeared. In an instant, Bai Xuan couldn't help but feel a burst of laughter in his heart. Zhao Rui chased Nie Xiaowan for so long, but in the end, he just held hands. Nie Xiaowan got into Lin Tianhao's luxury car and went out for a stroll, leaving her whole body behind. Women. Especially beautiful women. I am the most skilled at deceiving people. Bai Xuan looked at Nie Xiaowan's beautiful legs in a daze, while Nie Xiaowan angrily rebuked with a cold face, "What are you looking at? Take another look and dig out your eyes." Bai Xuan couldn't help but sneer in his heart. This woman, I really thought I didn't know anything. Continue to install. When do I think you can hold it up? Bai Xuan looked up at Nie Xiaowan and smiled, "Is there anything wrong with just one glance? However, I think your outfit lacks a black thread. If worn on your legs, it can attract more people." Unfortunately. Nie Xiaowan was extremely nervous and instinctively clenched her small hand, asking, "What a pity." "Unfortunately, you lost it," Bai Xuan said with a playful smile. Nie Xiaowan's face changed slightly and she said angrily in a low voice, "You follow me." Bai Xuan spread his hands, shrugged his shoulders, and pursed his lips, saying, "I said I saw it by chance, do you believe me?" "You." Nie Xiaowan was shocked and angry, but didn't know how to continue speaking. Bai Xuan suddenly smiled and said, "Nie Xiaowan, I didn't expect you to be such a woman." While hanging the young master of the Zhao family, he followed the young master of the Lin family. "No, it's not what you think," Nie Xiaowan panicked and quickly defended herself. "Isn't it?" Bai Xuan joked without hesitation. Nie Xiaowan calmly looked at Bai Xuan and said, "What exactly do you want to do? We don't know each other, we have no grievances or grudges, why are we staring at me? Or who sent you here?" Bai Xuan shook his head and said, "No one sent me here. I didn't deliberately stare at you either. I came to Lin Group just to apply for a job, and there is no special purpose. What would I not do to you? If so. I said if. I have been secretly in love with you for a long time, do you believe me?" Bai Xuan's words stunned Nie Xiaowan on the spot, leaving her mind blank in an instant. She couldn't believe that Bai Xuan was secretly in love with her. For her sake, she came to Lin Group to apply for a job. She also heard from the security captain that in order to enter the Lin Group, Bai Xuan would not hesitate to hit the CEO's car and even tear his face from the Lin Group on the spot. The reason for all of this? Just because I have a crush on her. Nie Xiaowan covered her mouth and looked at Bai Xuan incredulously, tears streaming out uncontrollably. Bai Xuan saw Nie Xiaowan crying, which made him flustered. He quickly waved his hand and explained, "I was joking, don't take it seriously. Don't cry, it's not good for you as it shows. He actually thinks about me. Why? Why is such a good man only appearing now?" Nie Xiaowan cried even more fiercely, which made Bai Xuan even more at a loss. Even the security captain who was watching from the side ran over to inquire about what had happened. "Assistant Nie, what's wrong? Did this kid bully you? Tell Big Brother will help you teach him a lesson." The security captain immediately transformed into a flower protector and took great care of Nie Xiaowan. Bai Xuan watched from the side with a gloomy pout, shouting in his heart to quickly get out. Nie Xiaowan wiped her tears and said softly, "It's okay, you go get busy." The security captain reluctantly left, deliberately staring at Bai Xuan before leaving, making that meaning very obvious. Bai Xuan was also too lazy to pay attention to the other party. "It's just a licking dog." Nie Xiaowan rubbed her crying eyes and stared at Bai Xuan affectionately, whispering, "Do you despise women who have had men before?" Bai Xuan instinctively shook his head and said, I don't know. I don't care about a woman's past, I only care about her future. Is she willing to give up the past for the person she loves? I have put in my sincerity and hope to exchange it for sincerity, rather than being half-hearted. Harm, why am I telling you this? You are Lin Xiao's woman, not mine. Besides, no one would like a man like me who is poor and destitute. Nie Xiaowan listened attentively, but when she heard Bai Xuan say she was Lin Xiao's woman, her heart immediately panicked. Upon hearing Bai Xuan's self-deprecating explanation, her heart instantly shattered. Why can't I meet such a good man? If I had met him earlier, perhaps I wouldn't have become what I am now. At that moment, Nie Xiaowan made a decision. A decision that influenced her throughout her life. She wants to protect this man who secretly loves her. No, don't say that about yourself. There will definitely be people who like you. There will definitely be some. As long as Nie Xiaowan spoke, her voice became quieter and quieter. She lowered her head and played with the corners of her clothes with her small hands. Her cheeks blushed and she dared not look directly at Bai Xuan. Seeing Nie Xiaowan's appearance, Bai Xuan frowned and began to speculate in his heart. Listen to her tone. This woman probably won't be interested in me anymore. I casually said that she really believed it. It shouldn't be. Shouldn't Tang Lin Group's assistant to the president be Gao Lengyujie? And he devoted himself wholeheartedly to Lin Tianhao, silently accompanying him by his side, and showing no false colors to anyone. Why do you look like a little girl? At that moment, a word came to Bai Xuan's mind. Love brain. Lying trough. Gao Lengyujie is actually a romantic brain. Someone believed this meowing out loud. The character portrayed in the novel is indeed a cold and aloof elder sister, but now how has it become a romantic brain? Nie Xiaowan's sudden transformation caught Bai Xuan off guard and made it difficult for him to accept it for a while. But how did he know? Nie Xiaowan was very envious of the flirting between other couples, and always longed for a man's persistent pursuit of him. Zhao Rui was able to pursue Nie Xiaowan for such a reason. Lin Tianhao was able to obtain Nie Xiaowan for the same reason. In Nie Xiaowan's heart, this is not considered love. Just like Bai Xuan. Silently guarding her side, approaching her regardless of everything, as long as watching her happy and joyful, that's enough. Just as Bai Xuan took 999 steps towards her, the last step should be taken by her. Nie Xiaowan wanted to take this step, but was also afraid that Bai Xuan would dislike her. As Bai Xuan said, she is now Lin Xiao's woman. Bai Xuan couldn't help but love her. Nie Xiaowan secretly glanced at Bai Xuan, who was frowning. Her heart twitched and her face changed slightly, causing her to panic. She was afraid that Bai Xuan, who had a crush on him, would just leave her like this. No way. I must pursue my own happiness. Nie Xiaowan clenched her small hand and looked up at Bai Xuan seriously. Bai Xuan also saw the gaze cast by Nie Xiaowan. Their eyes met, as if they had never seen a lover in many years, with a touch of tenderness rubbing against each other's eyes. Me. Assistant Nie. Failed. Bai Xuan despised her. Nie Xiaowan heard the sound of heartbreak. Chapter 4. The male lead's woman is not bad. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Nie Xiaowan's beautiful eyes revealed sadness, as she felt increasingly distant from the man in front of her. That's the man who has a crush on me. Why did God treat me like this? It's within reach, but I can't reach out and touch it. Not even throwing it into his arms. Nie Xiaowan wept and howled in her heart, wanting to vent her dissatisfaction, but after all, she was the CEO assistant of Lin Group, and hiding her heart was the most basic skill. Bai Xuan doesn't have so many ideas. He has only one idea. That is to quickly join the Lin group and hold on to the protagonist Lin Tianhao's thigh. Make a big profit in the upcoming business war. Add some financial accumulation to his colorful material life in the future. Especially in the later stages of novels, funding is an essential part. Assistant Nie, I have to work. Upon hearing Bai Xuan's words, Nie Xiaowan immediately regained her senses, and her beautiful eyes burst out with a touch of enchanting light. That's right. He is from our company. I will encounter it every day in the future. He. Nie Xiaowan thought of the scene that made her heart skip a beat, and instinctively showed a foolish expression. The saliva at the corner of her mouth made Bai Xuan across from her feel a palpitations. This woman. What exactly are you thinking? How do I feel like being targeted by someone else? Bai Xuan couldn't see through Nie Xiaowan's thoughts, and Nie Xiaowan didn't want to reveal her true nature. She put on a cold and aloof look and said coldly, I understand. Come with me. In this way, Bai Xuan followed Nie Xiaowan into the office building of the Lin group. Bai Xuan. What do you know? Ah. What do you know? Ah. What do you know so that I can arrange work for you? Me, I don't know anything. Bai Xuan secretly glanced at Nie Xiaowan with a guilty heart. He was just looking for a job at the Lin group with a passionate heart. He originally wanted to work as a security guard and cleaner, but gradually realized that Nie Xiaowan didn't think about it. Nie Xiaowan gave Bai Xuan a displeased look and scolded him with some anger, I don't know anything. So what position are you seeking? Isn't your company hiring security and cleaning services? I think I can give it a try. If you don't do well, just fire me again. Bai Xuan explained in a low voice, but he felt ashamed of what he said. Mad. Just look at job advertisements. I forgot to look at what positions Lin Group is recruiting for. Nie Xiaowan stopped, but Bai Xuan didn't pay attention and suddenly collided, knocking Nie Xiaowan down. Ah! Just as Nie Xiaowan fell, Bai Xuan immediately reached out his hand to hold him, pulled him hard, and pulled him into his arms. In this way, Nie Xiaowan lay quietly in Bai Xuan's arms, her cheeks blushing, and she looked at him affectionately. Are you okay? It was my fault just now, I didn't pay attention. Bai Xuan wanted to explain and apologize, but Nie Xiaowan immediately covered Bai Xuan's mouth and interrupted his next words. It's okay, I don't mind, there's no need to apologize. Bai Xuan felt a bit overwhelmed in his heart. Even in his previous life, he had never encountered a woman who threw herself into her arms, and his eyes were full of him. Due to the beauty in his arms, and he is not Hui Liuxia, his body is bound to react. What's up to me? Nie Xiaowan just finished speaking when she saw Bai Xuan's cheeks turn red and she hesitated to explain, but in the end, she still didn't feel embarrassed to speak. At that moment, Nie Xiaowan understood and blushed. She immediately got up and began to tidy up her clothes. The two of them were embarrassedly searching for trouble on their own in the corridor. Passing employees greeted Nie Xiaowan politely when they saw her. Assistant Nie. Nie Xiaowan regained her aloof demeanor and nodded at the employees. Before leaving, the employee secretly glanced at Bai Xuan and left in a low voice. Bai Xuan stood awkwardly in place, lowered his head, thinking about the scene from earlier. This woman's body is so light. Nie Xiaowan secretly glanced at Bai Xuan and coughed a few times on her own. Cough, let's do it this way. You can follow me. Follow you, what are you doing? Bai Xuan asked subconsciously. Assistant, how to do it? Watch me do it, Nie Xiaowan glared at Bai Xuan in anger. If I don't watch you do it, do I still do it behind your back? Bai Xuan muttered softly. Nie Xiaoqian gritted her teeth in anger and said with hatred, are you doing it or not? Work hard, I will definitely work hard as an assistant, Bai Xuan immediately assured Nie Xiaowan. Nie Xiaowan was satisfied and led Bai Xuan towards the general assistant's office. Listen up, I'll teach you how to be an assistant in the future. You must study hard, you know. Also, it was a bit difficult at first. If you don't understand, just ask me and I'll tell you how to do it. Do you understand? Remember, in the future, you can do whatever I ask you to do. You can't talk back or make excuses, understand? Nie Xiaowan brought Bai Xuan to her office and asked him to stay there for now. She went to the HR department to get Bai Xuan's contract. Only by signing a contract can one be considered a formal employee of the Lin Group. As for temporary workers, there is no such person in the Lin Group. Bai Xuan looked at the office environment and found that Nie Xiaowan was a woman who knew how to grow flowers, especially the potted plants in the office, which had 7 or 8 pots. Bai Xuan looked at the flowers and plants of different colors, and he could only match them from the descriptions in the novel story. He didn't know how to call a few plants. At this moment, the office door was opened, and Bai Xuan instinctively turned around, thinking that Nie Xiaowan had returned. Looking around, only a man in a white suit appeared at the door. The man is tall and straight, but he has a face that captivates all beings. If a man has an inch-long head and an Adam's apple around his neck, he would think he is a woman. Who are you? Assistant Nie has gone out to do something. If you're looking for him, come back later. The man leaned against the door frame with a smile and stared at Bai Xuan with a smile, saying, I'm not looking for him. I'm here to find you. Bai Xuan was puzzled and asked, do we know each other? I don't know, the man smiled calmly. Bai Xuan instinctively tilted his head and continued to ask, we don't know each other. What are you doing with me? The man looked at Bai Xuan playfully and chuckled lightly, I've seen you before. When? In the underground parking lot, there were still many people with you at the time, and many died. You were the only one who survived unscathed. Bai Xuan's face suddenly turned cold. There were many people who knew about this matter, but why did they come to tell him about it? The man didn't continue speaking, instead he turned around and left. Before leaving, he glanced at Bai Xuan again. Work hard, I'll come find you again. Oh, by the way, I forgot to tell you. My name is Lin Zixu, the vice president of Lin Group. Lin Zixu left, but Bai Xuan was cold all over, trembling with fear in his heart. He regretted it. Focusing on holding the protagonist's thigh, I forgot about another important figure in the Lin family. Lin Zixu. The younger brother of Lin Zixiao, the head of the Lin family. However, in the early stages of the novel, this character appeared very few times. Until the later stages of the novel, Lin Zixu and Lin Tianhao engaged in a fierce battle over the ownership of the Lin family. In the end, Lin Tianhao killed Lin Zixu on the spot, thus gaining control of all industries in the Lin family. The reason why Bai Xuan is afraid. It's because Lin Zixu is very masculine. Being stared at by him, Bai Xuan could even imagine the ending he was about to face as he opened his toes. Mad. I can't stay any longer. I need to run quickly. Chapter 5. The novel is full of pitfalls. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Who is Lin Zixu? Bai Xuan knows better than himself. This is a safe villain, hiding from beginning to end. And in the end, he died tragically. Get involved with people like this. He sold it and happily helped him count the money. So, Bai Xuan has only one idea at the moment. Run. Hurry up and run. The farther you run, the better. He is now just an ordinary person, being targeted by such a big villain, destined to be like a marionette, at the mercy of others. Don't just hold on to your thighs and become a family specimen. Before Bai Xuan could leave the office door, he collided with Nie Xiaowan who was coming towards him. Bai Xuan, where are you going? Go to the restroom, Bai Xuan explained hesitantly. Before Bai Xuan could even step out, he heard Nie Xiaowan say in his ear, "Oh, I have a restroom here, right there." Bai Xuan was confused, and following a corner pointed by Nie Xiaowan, he did see a small door with glass. Lying trough. There are also special ones like this. Due to helplessness, Bai Xuan dragged Nie Xiaowan into the bathroom and looked at the decoration. Although it was not considered luxurious, it was much stronger than an ordinary hotel. Especially toilets, water heaters, bathtubs, everything is available. If there is another bed or something to stay in, it can be considered a qualified hotel suite. Aren't you going to the bathroom? Go ahead. Bai Xuan looked at Nie Xiaowan dejectedly and said, "Are you sure you want me to be in front of you?" Ah. Nie Xiaowan shyly ran out, leaving only Bai Xuan behind. Coming out of the restroom, Bai Xuan saw Nie Xiaowan sitting on the sofa sorting out materials. "Bai Xuan, hurry up, come here and sign the contract. In the future, you will be my little brother." Nie Xiaowan excitedly waved at Bai Xuan, who occasionally looked at the office gate. As long as he ran out, he could escape this dangerous cage. When he remembered that he had spared no expense in bumping into the CEO's car just to get in, he felt a regret in his heart. "If I had known that Lin Zixu was working in this company, I wouldn't have come even if I killed him." However, in the early stages of the novel, Lin Zixu was not mentioned as the vice president of the Lin Group. Moreover, Lin Zixu's appearance was also at the funeral after Zhao Rui's death. Since then, Lin Zixu has been appearing at Lin family banquets, auctions, or at his own home. How could he appear in the Lin Group? With this in mind, Bai Xuan couldn't help but look at Nie Xiaowan, who was organizing his materials. He instinctively walked over and approached Nie Xiaowan, asking, "Assistant Nie." Nie Xiaowan's heart was very good at this moment. The man who had a crush on her was now her little follower, and no one would be able to separate them again in the future. Upon hearing Bai Xuan address her, Nie Xiaowan pouted and said, "Do I have a name?" Nie Xiaowan. Are you deliberately angry with me, right? Not really. I told you, I have a name, I have a name, I have a name. At this moment, Nie Xiaowan was like a young girl who was just starting to fall in love, venting her frustration towards Bai Xuan, "As if you had to make me happy." Bai Xuan felt depressed in his heart, but he was going crazy inside. What did I really meow about? This woman seems to have been cheating on me. Lin Xiao's woman, I can't touch her. If Lin Xiao finds out, I will be beaten again, and if not, I will be beaten to death. It's so annoying. Bai Xuan was very aggrieved, but he couldn't express it. He could only endure it and swallow all the unwillingness in his heart. At that moment, he had an impulse to tear the author of the novel apart. What kind of broken novel? Temio's all are pitfalls. Bai Xuan calmed his mind for a moment, calmed his mood, and cautiously shouted to Nie Xiaowan, "Xiaowan." Nie Xiaowan happily widened her big eyes and smiled sweetly at Bai Xuan. Worry. A woman with a romantic mind is too scary. If Lin Xiao discovers this, I will peel off my skin even if I don't die. In order to prevent being discovered by Lin Xiao, Bai Xuan had to come up with an impossible solution. "Xiaowan, what's going on? Oh, this voice is so crisp and soft. Make sure it's the voice that Gao Leng Yujie should make. Cough cough, Xiaowan, can I tell you something?" "You say, I listen," Nie Xiaowan answered very gently. "Well, to prevent the world from being destroyed." "Pooh, that's not right. To prevent Lin Xiao from discovering our relationship, I think we still need to maintain some distance. For example, in a company, we must have a sense of distance when addressing others." Before Bai Xuan could finish speaking, Nie Xiaowan directly covered his mouth and said gently and painfully, "Don't say it. I know you're doing it for me." Fart. I am doing it to prevent myself from being beaten. I promise you, in front of outsiders, we are superiors and subordinates. Is that right? In private, I'm your little sweetheart, okay? Lying trough. Xiao Xianshan. Do you think you are Mrs. Niu? Nie Xiaowan acted coquettishly towards Bai Xuan, who watched as a cute smile appeared on his cold face. The originally stacked defenses collapsed in an instant. Between the two soft flesh balls, the deep abyss was exposed without any cover, and Bai Xuan instinctively swallowed saliva. A pair of jade legs rubbed against his thighs intentionally or unintentionally, causing Bai Xuan to lift his proud wolf head again, wanting to howl to his heart's content. Nie Xiaowan immediately noticed Bai Xuan's reaction, her cheeks blushing with embarrassment, and she looked carefully at Bai Xuan. Bai Xuan. When I came in, I locked the door. What? You locked it, how can I run? Just as Bai Xuan was lost in thought, Nie Xiaowan suddenly leaned over, her cheeks close to Bai Xuan, and her breathing could be heard clearly. Bai Xuan, you said you have been secretly in love with me for a long time. Well, yes, I've been secretly in love with you for a long time. So where do you like me? Bai Xuan didn't know what to say for a moment. It was just a casual remark, but Nie Xiaowan took it seriously. If I think of a reason, I really don't know how to speak up. Nie Xiaowan suddenly gave a knowing smile, and her delicate jade hand grabbed Bai Xuan's big hand and released it to her chest. Do you like it? Bai Xuan's cheeks instantly turned red, and his hands instinctively pinched a few times. Wow! It's so big. It's so soft. With Bai Xuan's movements, Nie Xiaowan leaned her head on Bai Xuan's shoulder and whispered in his ear, I know you're lying to me. But I just like the way you lie to me. Since you know what kind of woman I am, do you like me like this? Bai Xuan's heart was startled and his whole body was cold. He didn't expect that Nie Xiaowan knew everything and had already guessed, but why was she still so stubborn and rushing towards him? The next second, Bai Xuan felt his lower body icy cold. Nie Xiaowan's head had slowly lowered, but her whole body pouted and lay on the sofa, clicked to expand. An hour later, Bai Xuan hugged Nie Xiaowan's delicate body and squeezed onto the soft sofa. Watching Nie Xiaowan being ravaged by him, Bai Xuan had a dreamlike feeling. He is really working as an assistant this time, without any discount. Bai Xuan, will you blame me? Nie Xiaowan hugged Bai Xuan's broad chest and asked with a face full of grievances. Why are you doing this? Bai Xuan didn't answer, instead he asked in reverse. Nie Xiaowan smiled bitterly and said, it was Vice President who asked me to do this. Bang! Bai Xuan's head seemed to have been struck by lightning, and his whole body was not doing well. Lie down and lean. Lin Zishu. What do you really want to do? Is it a beauty trick? Chapter 6. Nie Xiaowan is a spy. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In the bathroom. Yun Wanru squatted in front of the toilet, constantly pinching her throat and eyes with her fingers. Waves of nausea surged in her stomach, taking bites of the food she had eaten last night, accompanied by a wave of white vomit that surged into the toilet. Yun Wanru seemed to have done something that made her very excited, sitting slumped by the toilet, with a crazy and silent smile on her whole face. However, that smile appeared so ugly on that peach blossom-like face, even mixed with a hint of desolation. Zhao Rui, you are just like your father, both animals. Sooner or later, I will let you two, father and son, die without a burial ground. Yun Wanqing, wait for me. I'll go out and settle accounts with you sooner or later. Speaking of this, Yun Wanru couldn't help but secretly shed tears, and her body began to tremble and tremble. However, the mouth she covered with her hand stopped her crying, and only a faint whimpering sound could be heard. She is very aware of her current situation. She is a canary, which has been locked up in this villa by the Zhao family for nearly 20 years. Since the day she entered, she has never gone out again. Just because she has the shadow of the demon gate on her body, she cannot see the light. If someone pursues her, relying solely on the collusion between the Zhao family and the demon gate will be enough to uproot the Zhao family in the East China Sea. But she is a dancer secretly trained by the demon sect, practicing techniques to please men. And her goal is to seduce the Zhao family's most promising heir, making him a puppet of the demon gate. Unexpectedly, she was calculated to be pregnant and arranged by the Zhao family to give birth to Zhao Rui in secret, and she also lost her freedom. At that moment, she knew that she had been sold, and the person who sold her was the wife of the Zhao family head, Yun Wanqing. She is also Zhao Rui's foster mother. After learning about this, Yun Wanru could not believe that her sister, who is like her brother, would treat her like this. At first, Yun Wanqing would bring the head of the Zhao family with him to follow Yun Wanru, Wushan Yunyu. However, as Zhao Rui grew older and became aware of her existence, Yun Wanru's maternal nature began to bloom and she devoted herself wholeheartedly to building a closer relationship with Zhao Rui. However, due to the absence of a man for a long time, Yun Wanru's skin began to wrinkle and her figure gradually changed. It was only then that Zhao Rui's beastly ambition was revealed. Yun Wanru resisted to the death, but under Zhao Rui's bitter plea, Yun Wanru gave up. She couldn't refuse his son. After a drunken conversation, Yun Wanru learned the truth. All of this was a conspiracy of Yun Wanqing, and it was also a plan agreed upon by the head of the Zhao family and Zhao Rui. At that moment, Yun Wanru's entire world collapsed, and she couldn't believe that everything was true. In the eyes of others, even her son, she was just a tool to be played with. After all, Yun Wanru was a person who walked out of the demon gate. In order to seek revenge, she had to pretend not to know and willingly cater to Zhao Rui's actions. Yun Wanru's methods were simply beyond Zhao Rui's ability to handle. In order to provoke the relationship between Zhao Rui and her friends, her gaze was fixed on the man Zhao Rui brought with her every time he came here. Over time, Zhao Rui never brought the man back, and due to Yun Wanru's advanced and brave cultivation, he became even more infatuated with him. Finally, one day, Yun Wanru gave Zhao Rui the black crystal ball she used to cultivate her martial arts, and claimed that as long as she practiced the introductory techniques of the demon gate, she could sense spiritual power. At this time, Yun Wanqing had already given birth to a son several years younger than Zhao Rui, but his son had spiritual power since childhood and was sent to the deep mountains and forests to cultivate under a famous master. It is said that the child fell in love with a girl and became a son-in-law in the other person's house. If Zhao Rui still looks like an ordinary person before the other party returns, then the head of the Zhao family will definitely become a possession of the other party. Zhao Rui practiced, but also became useless. However, Yun Wanru tricked him that this was only temporary. After cultivating spiritual power, he will become stronger again, even bigger and stronger than before. Zhao Ruixin believed that he really wanted to become a spiritual warrior, and Yun Wanru finally didn't have to play any mother-son drama with Zhao Rui, let alone endure nausea every day to serve her biological son. On the surface, Yun Wanru still pretends to love Zhao Rui deeply, playing a complex role of a good mother, a good wife, and a good woman. Until yesterday when Zhao Rui brought Bai Xuan, Yun Wanru finally had no intention of meeting a new man and became lively again. However, what made Yun Wanru very satisfied was that Bai Xuan's combat power was very strong, as if there were two people taking turns, continuously and repeatedly using it, making her feel overwhelmed. At the thought of Bai Xuan staying in the villa for a few more days, Yun Wanru's originally depressed mood was instantly swept away, with a resolute expression on her face. Last night, I heard this kid talk about Lin Tianhao. It seems that there is a conflict between my son and Lin Tianhao. This may be an opportunity. Yun Wanru wiped her slightly red beautiful eyes, stood up with the toilet, walked to the sink, and looked at the haggard face in the mirror, barely squeezing out a faint smile. Lin Tianhao, the young master of the Lin family. One of the top few people on the list of Demon Gate assassins. Buzzing. Yun Wanru's phone next to the pool rang, picked it up and answered the call. Listening to the sound on the phone, Yun Wanru's smile became even more brilliant. The reason why Yun Wanru was not killed by Yun Wanqing, nor was she brutally killed by the Zhao family father and son, she was simply confined to this villa. The main reason is that Yun Wanru is still one of the leaders in charge of the dancers in the demon sect. In her hands, she has a unique team of dancers, and Yun Wanqing also has a team of dancers. A dancer is different from a spiritual warrior. The duel between spiritual warriors determines both superiority and inferiority, as well as life and death. The duel between the dancers depends on who has the highest skill, and the other side must submit and use it for their own benefit. Simply put, whoever first tempts a man's body and mind wins. Yun Wanru was sold by Yun Wanqing, so she was dissatisfied. Just because she was dissatisfied, Yun Wanqing designed to torture her and make her commit suicide. As long as Yun Wanru commits suicide, the dance girl team in Yun Wanru's hands will start searching for a new boss to trade, or live an ordinary life undercover. Bai Xuan was completely unaware of the fact that he had already been calculated. He was now immersed in a world of villains and couldn't extricate himself. Especially as he looked at the densely packed younger brother in front of him, he couldn't help but exude a Wang Ba aura of disdain for all beings. "Boss, everyone is here." A little brother dressed in colorful clothes ran to Bai Xuan's side, nodding and bowing to report. Bai Xuan held his chest high, with his nostrils facing the sky, and waved at everyone with the most powerful expression of lousy. "Act according to plan." "Yes." The younger brothers shouted in unison, then quickly dispersed, making Bai Xuan feel incredibly satisfied. This made him unable to help but feel 1,000 emotions in his heart. So this is the feeling of being the boss. It's really cool. Chapter 7. Lin Tianhao, his mother. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. On a highway in the suburbs of Donghai City, a yellow supercar is rushing in one direction. This road is a must-pass route to the slums. Bang! In the blink of an eye, a large truck oncoming collided directly with the yellow supercar at its fiercest speed. The driver of the big truck seemed to have been intentionally hit by a steel plate without much injury, but the supercar directly damaged the front of the car. Bai Xuan stood on a high building at a construction site, holding a telescope and watching a clearly targeted car accident he had planned, with a proud smile on his lips. Humph, the protagonist. That's just that. Just as Bai Xuan was lost in pride, in the telescope, he saw Lin Tianhao climb up from the grass on the left side of the road and walk slowly towards his luxury car, which had already crashed into the front end. Sleeping trough. I am truly the protagonist. I didn't even see when I jumped off the car. It seems that we can only execute Plan B. Speaking, Bai Xuan kept his eyes on the telescope and took out his phone from his pocket with one hand. Without even looking at it, he dialed the number that had already been dialed. After the phone call, Bai Xuan said without any hesitation, "Execute Plan B." The phone immediately replied with a clear understanding, and then hung up. At the scene of a car accident, Lin Tianhao simply looked at the smashed front of the car, his face looking very ugly at this moment. The next second, Lin Tianhao looked up at the truck and saw that the driver on the truck was unfastening his seatbelt and quickly opening the car door to jump off. Lin Tianhao originally wanted to come forward and take down the driver, but at the moment of landing, the driver suddenly raised his pistol and started shooting at Lin Tianhao, not giving him a chance to come forward. Lin Tianhao decisively moved around, and a phantom appeared. His palm was covered with golden spiritual energy, and he grabbed the bullet that was still moving forward in the air with his bare hands. The bullet that was originally rushing forward quickly was easily caught by Lin Tianhao in the palm of his hand. The driver originally intended to shoot Lin Tianhao, but looking at his dreamy figure and golden light made his face pale. The driver doesn't even need to guess, he knows he has encountered a spiritual warrior. Seeing this scene, the driver fired at Lin Tianhao while moving quickly backwards until all the bullets on the pistol were fired. The driver threw down the pistol, turned around, and ran. Lin Tianhao saw the driver about to run and casually threw the 10 bullets he had grabbed in his hand, like throwing a hidden weapon, towards the driver's back. The firing rate of the bullet was much faster than the speed of the pistol just now. In the blink of an eye, all 10 bullets were shot into the driver's body. Poo-poo poo-poo poo-poo. Although there were only 10 bullets, there were 5 sounds on the driver's body. Ah! The driver suddenly fell forward, not because he tripped over a stone, but because 4 pieces of blood mist exploded on both sides of his calves and shoulders, and the remaining piece of blood mist was on his buttocks. Lin Tianhao walked forward calmly and stepped on the driver's head, staring down at the driver he had never seen before. Say, who sent you to kill me? The driver was about to open his mouth when a gunshot suddenly rang out from over 800 meters away. Bang! Lin Tianhao stepped aside at an elusive speed, only to see the driver's head shot. Lin Tianhao's originally ugly face was almost twisted, and he quickly looked towards the direction of the gunfire. There is a grassy hillside, and a sniper in a lucky suit is lying in a 30-centimeter meadow, holding a green-wrapped sniper rifle and hiding in the grass, unnoticed by anyone. The sniper saw Lin Tianhao looking at him from the 8x mirror, and he couldn't help smiling. The smile was exactly the same as that of Bai Xuan. Lin Tianhao, I have taken your life. As soon as the words fell, the sniper pulled the trigger directly. Bang! 1 shot. Bang! 2 rounds. Bang! 3 rounds. Bang! 4 rounds. The sniper quickly empties all the magazines in the sniper rifle without any shaking, using his hand speed. And the gap between each sniper shot does not exceed 0.5 seconds, and the 4 sniper bullets aim at different angles, even blocking all the escape routes that Lin Tianhao should have. The sniper is very confident and can perform his ultimate skill without getting injured, almost without any harm. Even if the other party is a spiritual warrior. Lin Tianhao started moving as soon as the sniper fired the first shot, and by the time he dodged the first shot, the second one had already been shot in front of him. Lin Tianhao dodged the second bullet in a strange posture, and then the third bullet reappeared, which made him feel very uncomfortable. Under duress, Lin Tianhao twisted his body and narrowly avoided the third bullet. However, to Lin Tianhao's discomfort, the fourth bullet was only 10 centimeters away from him. And the target of the fourth bullet is his lower body, the most vulnerable part of the man. Golden Dragon protects the body and provides absolute defense. Ding! At the moment when the fourth bullet hit the target, a layer of golden spiritual power suddenly appeared on Lin Tianhao's body, directly enveloping his entire body tightly. And the fourth bullet seemed to hit an iron plate, making only a crisp sound and losing its momentum, falling directly to the ground. Although Lin Tianhao has absolute defense, the bullets fired by the sniper rifle are not powerful enough for ordinary people to withstand. Lin Tianhao's face twisted as he painfully covered his lower body, curled up on the ground, gritting his teeth and enduring it, causing his body to tremble uncontrollably. Lao Wu, it's definitely him. I want to kill him with my own hands. Lao Wu, a professional assassin and sniper expert, is skilled at hiding in corners and shooting targets. If given the opportunity, he will never shoot, even if he watches the target leave, he will not shoot a single shot. If given the opportunity, Old 5 would be like his nickname, firing only 5 shots. Even if the target is not dead, he wouldn't fire another shot. Because his bullets are specifically developed for Lingwu practitioners, the required items are difficult to obtain and the production rate is very low. Lao Wu looked at Lin Tianhao curled up on the ground in an 8-fold mirror and was very proud of his masterpiece. He didn't care whether his goal was to die or live. As long as he took action, he would definitely receive the full reward in advance. Even if the task failed, he wouldn't give up. This is his rule, otherwise don't look for him. Lao Wu picked up the phone that had been thrown aside and dialed the number. The other party heard Bai Xuan's voice. Well done. Lao Wu smiled calmly, but his eyebrows were very serious. He said calmly, if the news about the spirit stone is not correct. Don't worry, since I can find you, I will never give you false information, promised Bai Xuan on the other side of the phone, refusing to give Lao Wu a chance to continue speaking. However, I need to remind you that you are not the only one staring at the spirit stone. You need to understand this. After a long silence, Lao Wu sighed and said, you keep an account this time. I hope you come to me with the spirit stone next time. After speaking, Lao Wu hung up the phone and quietly left the bushes where he was hiding. Standing on the tall building of the construction site, Bai Xuan held a telescope and looked at Lin Tianhao curled up on the ground, with no expression on his face. His other hand was tightly gripping his phone, indicating that he was very unhappy at the moment. Because he could clearly see through the telescope that there was no blood flowing from Lin Tianhao's body. It seems that this protagonist is even more difficult to handle than imagined. Chapter 8. Unknowingly enters the game. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Bai Xuan once thought that if Lin Tianhao was killed by a professional assassin, it would be the best. However, reality left him very disappointed. Lin Tianhao not only was not killed, but also did not leave any injuries, which was a bit difficult to accept. However, Lin Tianhao is now curled up on the ground and has lost his mobility, which is already the best opportunity. Hands on. Bai Xuan did not terminate the plan, instead he gave the final order to his phone. On the other side. Lin Tianhao originally curled up on the ground with his life gate in his hand. Although he used absolute defense to block the damage of sniper bullets, the impact of the bullets made him grin in pain and suck in the air. At this moment, the baffle of the cargo box behind the big truck suddenly began to descend, which made Lin Tianhao feel an unprecedented danger. After the baffle of the cargo box lowered to a certain extent, the door of the cargo box suddenly opened. A group of thugs wearing colorful clothes and tattoos jumped out of the carriage with machetes, without any hesitation, and rushed towards Lin Tianhao to kill them. At this moment, Lin Tianhao was like fish on a chopping board, ready to be slaughtered. He wanted to get up, but due to the pain of his life gate, he couldn't move. As the thug was about to rush towards him, a red supercar rushed over from the other side of the road at its fastest speed and pressed the brakes several tens of meters away from Lin Tianhao. I saw the red supercar luxury car drawing a beautiful curve on the wide road, and the tires rubbing against the ground to produce a pleasant sound, causing the thugs who had originally rushed to avoid it unconsciously. In the end, the red supercar parked steadily beside Lin Tianhao. When the door of the red supercar opened, beautiful legs wrapped in black silk slowly stretched out from the car. As the people in the car stood up with their hands on the door frame, a tall and graceful woman appeared in front of many thugs. The woman wore a black T-shirt on her upper body and a black mini skirt on her lower body. Her beautiful legs were wrapped in smooth and delicate black silk, and her feet were adorned with a pair of black high heels measuring 7 or 8 centimeters. A head of shiny black long hair, casually draped over the back of his head, had a stunning appearance, but without any expression. He just looked contemptuously at the group of thugs jumping off the car and walked towards Lin Tianhao, who was curled up on the ground. The woman walked up to Lin Tianhao and looked down at him from a high position. She rudely kicked Lin Tianhao's buttocks with a beautiful foot. If I don't come to pick you up, are you going to die here? Lin Tianhao looked up at the woman and awkwardly chuckled. The woman pouted in displeasure and kicked Lin Tianhao with her foot. Can you get up? Lin Tianhao stared straight at the woman and whispered, it's actually pink. The woman's cheeks instantly turned red upon hearing this, and she lifted her slender legs and kicked Lin Tianhao's buttocks fiercely. Ah, it hurts. The woman's beautiful eyes were wide open, staring at Lin Tianhao, and she blushed and said, may I ask you something? You actually took advantage of me. You rascal. If I had known earlier, I wouldn't have come. Let you die here. Lin Tianhao sneered and felt guilty, explaining, there's nothing I can do, I can't control my eyes. Besides, your legs are so long, so beautiful, and your skirt is so short. Lin Tianhao continued to speak, but the woman's cheeks were extremely red, and an unnamed flame had already burned in her beautiful eyes. She gritted her teeth and stared at Lin Tianhao, forcing him to quickly shut up, even closing his eyes. The woman stomped her feet in hatred. She dressed like this just to make this stinky thug look at her. He even closed his eyes. After all, women are shy and can't say anything. They can only vent their anger on others, especially those thugs who are preparing to kill Lin Tianhao. How do you want to die? The thugs saw a very beautiful woman and were immediately captivated by her. However, watching her speak coldly to them made them come to their senses. The man killed, while the woman stayed to make the brothers happy. One of the thugs immediately made a bold statement, and the others immediately agreed loudly and charged towards the woman and Lin Tianhao. The woman sneered, and her hands instantly transformed into two short knives emitting cold air. Her figure flashed like a flying butterfly, leaving a trail of shadows around the thugs before finally returning to the original position. But the thugs who were supposed to charge just now seemed to be pinned down, holding their machetes high, their eyes fixed and motionless. If someone observes up close, they will find a frozen wound on the neck of all the thugs, and the blood from the wound is like ice sticking to the throat of the neck. Lin Tianhao saw this scene and covered his life gate, enduring the pain and sighing helplessly. You should leave a living one. At least let me ask who is going to kill me. The woman was like a child who had made a mistake, pouting and turning her head away, not wanting to talk to Lin Tianhao, in order to avoid the mistake she had just made. Upon seeing this, Lin Tianhao felt speechless and sneered, all right, help me up and take me to the hospital. Ah, you're injured. The woman ran over and squatted down in pain to help Lin Tianhao. Lin Tianhao simply responded without saying much. The woman looked at the area covered by Lin Tianhao, her face slightly changed, and she wanted to ask. In the end, she didn't speak and helped Lin Tianhao get into the car. After stepping on the gas pedal, the red supercar left at a visible speed. Now Bai Xuan on the high-rise building of the construction site witnessed everything with a telescope. Although he didn't see clearly how his subordinates were killed by the woman, seeing the woman's ability to directly transform two short knives, he knew that the other party was a spiritual warrior. Bai Xuan silently put away his telescope and stared blankly at the scene of the car accident in the distance. His mind couldn't help but start thinking. Who is that woman? Among Lin Tianhao's women, there are two women who perfectly match the setting of that woman just now. One is Lin Tianhao's fiancée Nie Xiaowan. One is Lin Tianhao's sister, Lin Yuexin. Bai Xuan is not sure because he has not yet figured out the current plot. As Bai Xuan walked down the tall building at the construction site, Zhao Rui's phone suddenly came over. Hello, Mr. Zhao. Zhao Rui, who was on the other end of the phone, felt very excited and couldn't wait to ask, Bai Xuan, you kid can do it. Lin Tianhao has been hospitalized, and the Lin family has already begun to speak out. We must find the mastermind behind the scenes. But the Lin family would never have thought that I asked you to do it. Ha ha ha. Bai Xuan listened to Zhao Rui's piercing laughter and instinctively moved his phone away from his ears, showing a very disdainful expression. After Zhao Rui's laughter on the other end of the phone ended, Bai Xuan put his phone back in his ear and whispered, Zhao Gongzi, I didn't do this well. Originally, Lin Tianhao would have been killed by my subordinates. But suddenly a woman came and picked up Lin Tianhao. Moreover, that woman is also a spiritual warrior. Bai Xuan wisely shut up because he could hear Zhao Rui on the other end of the phone smashing something with his hand, making a crisp sound. After a long time, Zhao Rui on the other end of the phone made an unwilling voice. That person is Lin Tianhao's fiancée Ae. Chapter 9. The Conspirators. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. System, where is the approximate orientation of things? Walking on the flowing street, Lin Tianhao's face showed a hint of impatience as he watched the small vendors with street stalls on both sides. He gained the system from his rebirth to the young master of the Lin family, and went smoothly all the way. He has never been like today, running around the department store like a fly. Over the years, he has developed a domineering, arrogant, and high-minded personality. He never believed that there was anyone in this world who could defeat him. The challenge of going beyond the level is not a problem. He can gradually become a peerless powerhouse as long as he completes the tasks assigned by the system according to its requirements. Moreover, the things in the system mall are what all spiritual warriors in the world dream of. There is price but no market. As long as there is a system in place, he controls the world and dreams of having 3,000 harems, so why worry about not being able to complete them? However, today's system seems to have malfunctioned, making him feel very uncomfortable. For example, if you are playing on a computer worth millions of dollars and it starts running smoothly, suddenly one day the computer tells you that there is a problem with the computer configuration. It's not as useful as other people's broken second-hand computers. Moreover, computers around the world are not as good as your computer, and the hardware of the devices is already at the top level. It is impossible to update and iterate, nor can it detect where the problem lies with your computer. That taste is as uncomfortable as eating shit. Ding. Detected fluctuations in the spiritual power of the true Dragon 9 techniques, roughly located due south. Warning. Warning. Spiritual interference has occurred and the system cannot detect. Please find it yourself. Sleeping trough. This dog system. How to encounter problems at critical moments. Is it due south? Without saying a word, Lin Tianhao chose a direction and used the fastest body movements, like a gust of wind, to shuttle through the crowds of people coming and going. In the blink of an eye, Lin Tianhao disappeared into the crowd on the street. The people closely following Lin Tianhao on the side quickly picked up their phones and dialed the phone when they saw Lin Tianhao suddenly disappear. Young master, Lin Tianhao has disappeared. Sitting at a simple desk, Zhao Rui listened to the phone with his phone. Upon hearing the news of Lin Tianhao's disappearance, his entire face instantly darkened. With a slight force from his grip on the phone, he deformed it. The young man sitting behind the desk looked directly at Zhao Rui and couldn't help but laugh. Zhao Rui, what's wrong? Did your girlfriend give you a green hat? My face looks so ugly. This person has a grand appearance, dressed in a suit and leather shoes, very handsome. There is a work badge on the chest of the suit, which reads the person's name and position. Xia Yuxuan. President of Donghai Bank Department Store Market Branch. Although he is the illegitimate child of the Xia family and does not have the qualification to inherit the Xia family, it is rare for many peers to be able to achieve their current position from the bottom at such a young age. Moreover, he is also a spiritual warrior. The kind of self-study can be considered as the proud son of heaven. If it weren't for Lin Tianhao having a system in place, he would definitely be a better existence than Lin Tianhao. Unfortunately, he was the illegitimate child of a nanny. Zhao Rui stared at Xia Yuxuan with a gloomy expression and said, Lin Tianhao has disappeared. My people are lost. Upon hearing this, Xia Yuxuan smiled lightly and said, what did I think it was? If he can't get rid of your people, I look down on him a bit. Tell me, why did you suddenly come to see me today? Don't tell me, you're jealous of Lin Tianhao for the sake of a woman. Listen to my advice, there's no need to care too much about women. If you've had enough fun, he'll find an honest person to marry sooner or later. Do you still have to keep them by your side? When she gets old and pale, why don't you kick her away? Zhao Rui's face was embarrassed, he clenched his fist and slammed it fiercely on the table, cursing, I'm really meowing, I just can't swallow this breath. I pursued Nie Xiaowan with great care and effort. I immediately satisfied her whatever she wanted, and in the end, I didn't even kiss her, so I held hands. Why did Lin Tianhao let all my efforts go to waste as soon as he appeared? Hey. Zhao Rui took out a few photos directly from his arms and threw them forcefully onto the table. The content of the photo is very clear. Lin Tianhao and Nie Xiaowan are kissing in the luxury car. Nie Xiaowan is riding on Lin Tianhao naked, Lin Tianhao is lying on Nie Xiaowan, and Nie Xiaowan is still pressing her feet against the windshield. All the photos were taken in the direction of the front windshield. If Xia Yuxuan guessed correctly, Zhao Rui still has a video in his hand. Xia Yuxuan shook his head with a regretful expression, looking at Zhao Rui with a strong sympathy. If Bai Xuan sees these photos, he will inevitably find that the time when these photos were taken happened to be when he was applying for a job at Lin Group. Because the photos are captured from surveillance videos, there is still a recording time left on them. Oh, the posture is good. I'll try it out next time too. Zhao Rui, send me a video and I will also learn from my learning experience. Zhao Rui gave Xia Yuxuan a cold glare and angrily said, "You still have the mood to joke with me. If this matter gets out, I can't afford to lose this person. Yuxuan, how about we work together to kill him? It's right in this department store." Xia Yuxuan pursed his lips and replied disdainfully, "Zhao Rui, I'm not you. I have the qualification to inherit the Zhao group. I'm just an illegitimate child, and the whole family is watching me. It doesn't matter if you make a mistake. If someone takes care of you, I will be different. Not only will I be scolded and beaten, but I can also be expelled from the family. Zhao Rui, don't think I'm as fearless as you are. If it's moving others, I'm a bit interested." But Lin Tianhao, the heir of the Lin family, publicly announced, "Move him. Please spare me, I want to live a few more years." Xia Yuxuan decisively rejected Zhao Rui's proposal. He didn't just think about it, but knew that if things didn't go smoothly, he would suffer a great backlash that he couldn't bear. So he is excellent. Because he knows how to advance and retreat. This is also his way of survival in the Xia family and even the entire second-generation circle in the East China Sea. Just kidding. Dong Lin Tianhao. He doesn't want to. He wants to prove that he is stronger than Lin Tianhao. But he knows that the opportunity to prove his strength is not at this time. Zhao Rui was not surprised by Xia Yuxuan's refusal. Although he is a licking dog, he has the capital to lick. As one of the heirs of the Zhao group, he is not foolish, otherwise he wouldn't have been licking Nie Xiaowan while enjoying himself with other women. He was just too angry to be compared by Lin Tianhao. He is also the heir in the second-generation circle. Why is Lin Tianhao stronger than him? Moreover, they are still competitors. Comparison exists regardless of social class. But the way of comparison is different. Help me activate the 9 palaces and 8 trigrams formation, the reason being that some disciples of the demon sect have infiltrated the department store market. Xia Yuxuan gave Zhao Rui a deep glance, pondered for a moment, and immediately nodded. Falling into a well and falling into a stone. Someone has a bottom line. This kind of good thing cannot be found even with a lantern. Quickly, at Zhao Rui's request, the 9 palaces and 8 trigrams formation was successfully launched. Although the Lingwu generals sitting here don't know why these 2 young masters are doing this. But they didn't ask further questions. Take money to do things and obey orders. This is their duty. Moreover, as it concerns the demon gate, even if asked further, it can still be justified. Besides, what are they afraid of when asked by the young master of the Zhao group? The vast department store market quietly opens up the 9 palaces and 8 trigrams formation, and the only advantage of this formation is that it will not be discovered. The formation is only targeted at spiritual warriors and can allow them to enter and exit but not. As for ordinary people, there are no requirements. However, in the vast department store market, no one has noticed this problem. Even if they do, they have no choice but to quietly wait for the formation to disappear. The difference between Lingwu practitioners and ordinary people is that they do not seek reasoning, complain, or forcibly leave like ordinary people. They will sit quietly in one place, waiting silently. After all, there is a law that binds ordinary people, but a fist that binds spiritual warriors. The kind that divides life and death. At the same time, Bai Xuan and Nie Xiaowan also smoothly entered the department store market. When they saw many people sitting cross-legged at the entrance of the department store, with their eyes closed and focused, and each person maintaining a certain distance, they were surprised and couldn't understand why these people were like this. They are ordinary people, unable to feel the existence of spiritual power. It is also impossible to discern the identities of these spiritual warriors. Bai Xuan pulled Nie Xiaowan and ignored these people, running wildly in one direction. He remembers clearly where the Imperial Spirit Pearl is located. The novel is written very clearly. Due south. The system on Lin Tianhao tells him. Chapter 10. Pedestrian A and the Male Lead. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Bai Xuan pulled Nie Xiaowan and relentlessly ran towards the south of the department store market. He remembered clearly that there was an old man selling goods at a street stall. Among the old man's goods were fragments of the true Dragon 9 techniques that Lin Tianhao had noticed, as well as an inconspicuous bead. At that time, Lin Tianhao spent a high price to buy the fragments of the true Dragon 9 technique, and the bead was given to Lin Tianhao as a gift. Although Bai Xuan does not intend to forcibly change the plot, he must change his fate. Transformed from an ordinary person to a spiritual warrior. Nie Xiaowan is not sure what Bai Xuan is going to do, but she enjoys being held in hand like this. When pursued by Zhao Rui for success, he always tries his best to hold her hand and even wants to go further, making her feel nauseous. When Lin Zixu forcibly ordered her to seduce Lin Tianhao, her heart was filled with resistance, but she had to choose to accept her fate. That's also why she went from a passionate and gentle little woman to a cold and elegant lady. Half of them are influenced by Iceberg CEO Lu Mengyao, as Lu Menyao's marriage to Lin Xiao has long been in name only. The other half is that Lin Zixu treats her life as a children's play, allowing him to manipulate and control her at will. Fortunately, Lin Zixu doesn't like women. Otherwise, Nie Xiaowan wouldn't have only Lin Tianhao as a man. Until Bai Xuan appeared, especially the lie that I had been secretly in love with you for a long time, it made her heart skip a beat. The love that was buried in her heart instantly filled her heart. When Lin Zixu ordered her to seduce Bai Xuan, she did not resist as much, but instead had an inexplicable expectation. Her body has already been given to someone else, and it's not impossible to give it to someone else. Anyway, from beginning to end, she was a toy that anyone could play with. She knew very well that she couldn't have a fair and upright relationship with Lin Tianhao, and Lin Tianhao wouldn't challenge the authority between wealthy families for the sake of so-called bullshit love. She can only be an unknown underground lover, and even if others know, she cannot publicly disclose this relationship. Bai Xuan is different. An ordinary person like her, there is no class gap between them, and more importantly, she can raise Bai Xuan and treat him as her private property. You can also disclose their relationship to anyone without any pressure, and do whatever you want. For example, now, without any hesitation, Bai Xuan is pulling her and running wildly on the street. The people around me didn't gossip, but instead praised them for their carefree young couple. She has never had a father, mother, or family since childhood, only love remains, and she must not lose it. Nie Xiaowan is too eager for love. Whether it's favoritism or being loved, it doesn't matter. He only wants a fair and upright love. Holding the hand of a son, the kind that grows old together with him. Zhao Rui is clearly the one who is looking for her. Lin Tianhao couldn't give her a place. Others couldn't approach her when they saw her high and cold. Only Bai Xuan did not pretend to use color to her, which made her heart skip a beat. You also know everything about her. So even if she knew that Bai Xuan was deceiving her, she pretended not to know. Even if this love has no outcome. It doesn't matter. At least she had it before. Nie Xiaowan had a smile on her face and looked sweetly at Bai Xuan beside her. Even though she was wearing high heels and it was not easy to run, she was willing to do so. Ah! Nie Xiaowan's feet were unstable, her body leaned forward, and she was about to fall towards the ground. Nie Xiaowan closed her eyes tightly, waiting for the pain of falling to the ground, but her warm chest greeted her. Bai Xuan frowned and looked at the woman in his arms, thinking that this woman was really taking up his time. But he asked with his mouth, "Is everything okay?" "No, it's okay." Nie Xiaowan shyly stood up from Bai Xuan's arms and secretly glanced at him, but remembered the earth-shattering hours in the office. However, being able to accompany Bai Xuan, she can endure it. No matter how tired you are. Because Bai Xuan cares about him very much. Watching Bai Xuan squat down to check her broken high heels, she felt sweet in her heart. She had never felt it before, this was the first time. Bai Xuan looked at Nie Xiaowan's high heels that were already broken and his ankle was slightly twisted. Although he was very angry in his heart, he didn't mean to leave Nie Xiaowan behind. Bai Xuan squatted on the ground, twisted his head and said, "Come up, I'll carry you." Nie Xiaowan shyly whispered, "Don't do it. There are many people here." Bai Xuan rushed to buy the Imperial Spirit Pearl in his heart and said angrily, "What nonsense. Hurry up. I haven't played anywhere on you before. I can't carry you anymore." Nie Xiaowan's cheeks blushed and she didn't dare to talk back. She could only obediently climb onto Bai Xuan's back and say with guilt, "I'm sorry." Hugging tightly. Your body is still a bit heavy. Ah, I'll come back and start losing weight. That's not necessary. I also like those with meat, they feel comfortable to pinch. Nie Xiaowan blushed and buried herself on Bai Xuan's shoulder, afraid to continue speaking. Bai Xuan ignored Nie Xiaowan and strode forward. At the moment when Nie Xiaowan was on Bai Xuan's back, several men in suits with ill-mannered expressions suddenly appeared around, staring at Bai Xuan intently. One of them spoke curiously, "Is that Brother Xuan?" Immediately after, others also began to take the conversation. Didn't it mean he was seriously injured and didn't die? Yeah, how could he appear here? I know that woman, the assistant to the president of Lin Group, surnamed Nie, named Nie Xiaowan, who is Lin Xiao's lover. I don't know, Xian Gu actually touched Lin Xiao's woman. At this moment, the man in charge spoke up, "This is Xian Ji's private matter. Don't talk nonsense, let's find Lin Tianhao first." After speaking, the group of people headed towards another place. After this group of people left, a few more people came out of the alley, looked left and right, and chose a direction to leave. The department store covers a wide area and is divided into 9 areas, each with 5 nearly 100-meter streets. South 3rd Street. There are very few people strolling here, and there are more than 20 stalls on the street, placed on both sides. Lin Tianhao, dressed in casual clothes, naturally looked left and right on this street. He is looking for fragments of the true Dragon 9 technique. He has already found 2 streets. This is the 3rd street he found. At another intersection of the street, Bai Xuan walked into the street with Nie Xiaowan on his back. He didn't look at the goods on the surrounding carpet, his purpose was very clear. In the middle of South 3rd Street, there is a stall for an elderly person. Soon. Bai Xuan carried Nie Xiaowan on his back and quickly walked to the old man's stall. Seeing the old man still setting up the stall, he couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief in his heart. Lin Xiao. Nie Xiaowan's exclamation came from his ear, and Bai Xuan instinctively lifted his head to see a figure that made him afraid and fearful. At the moment when Lin Tianhao was wearing more and more clothes, he saw with his own eyes that he had personally killed many people and seriously injured many others. This also includes him. Then, today I met Lin Tianhao and took Nie Xiaowan away. Then, after Lin Tianhao and Nie Xiaowan finished their love affair in the car, they escorted Nie Xiaowan to the downstairs of the Lin group. Finally, it is the scene before us. Lin Tianhao is picking at the stall next to the old man, searching for something. Bai Xuan suppressed his fear and walked towards the old man's booth, pretending nothing had happened. Just as Bai Xuan carried Nie Xiaowan to the old man's booth, Lin Tianhao finally got up and began to inspect the old man's booth. Bai Xuan and Lin Tianhao met head-on. A passerby with a script in hand. A male protagonist with a system in mind. The two of them looked at each other naturally. However, Lin Tianhao also saw Nie Xiaowan on Bai Xuan's back, and his face immediately darkened. "Xiaowan, why are you together?"